Hi everybody, welcome to Mondays with Mark. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the hip triad, and that triad is made up of three muscles. A lot of the times they'll get misdiagnosed as each other, and those three muscles are: one is the rectus femoris, the other one is the TFL, and the last one is the iliopsoas. The iliopsoas is your major hip flexor. The rectus femoris is the only one of the quads that crosses your hip joint. So it's the only quad that can assist with hip flexion. And then your TFL is an assistant hip flexor and also one of the more important shock absorbers in your leg. The three muscles, typically when people say they've strained a hip flexor, they're talking about one of those muscles. The quad is typically the rectus becomes a problem because most runners are quad dominant. So when they run, they swing their leg forward with the rectus femoris instead of using the psoas. So most runners who are quad dominant tend to get the rectus femoris tendinitis because they use their quads instead of using the psoas to lift the hip. A lot of female runners, because they have an anterior tilted pelvis, puts tension on the psoas, and so when they run, they tend to get a psoas tendinitis. The psoas is the major hip flexor, and then the last guy is the TFL. The TFL, like I just said earlier, is one of your more important shock absorbers, and is also an assistant hip flexor. So if you have an anterior tilted pelvis, you have tight quads, the rectus femoris is going to become much more involved than it needs to be. And that will typically lead to a rectus femoris strain, especially if you run a lot of downhills or if you run on a lot of concrete. So that's the hip triad. Stretch the quad, strengthen the glutes, stretch the iliopsoas, and stretch the TFL. And that will take care of your hip triad.